Thank you. Thank you. Dan and Monica, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate you taking some time to chat with us about the World Cup coming to Dallas. And to start things off, Dan, you and I talked this weekend about this being the year of soccer. Take us back for a moment, please. How did your journey in soccer begin? What made you fall in love with the game? And how have you watched FC Dallas grow alongside the region?
Well, first off, thank you for the 10-part question I have here. And a big thank you all for being here today. We get to talk about something that I'm so passionate about. Our story in soccer is very unconventional. And I say that because my father, Lamar Hunt, was a great football pioneer. He loved baseball. He started World Championship tennis, a number of other things. But the reason he fell in love with soccer, my mother, Norma, who went to University of North Texas, which was North Texas State University at the time, was actually a Rotary Scholar at the University College Dublin in Ireland. And she had been working two jobs, one of which was ticket sales for the Dallas Texans, who eventually became the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, my dad, Lamar, went to go visit her over at UCD in Ireland and saw his first soccer match, which was a Shamrock Rovers game. And he fell in love with the game, and he saw the 66 final on TV and immediately decided that Dallas, his home city, was ready for professional soccer. So he was about 50 years early, is what we laugh about with that. But he fell in love with soccer for two reasons. One, the passion of the fans. We all see those crazy supporters and their energy that they have. So he thought that was really different than American sports. And then secondly, he fell in love with it because moms and dads and brothers and sisters could play the game together. All you need is a ball to kick it, pass it around, have some fun. Unlike American football or baseball, those games don't translate as well for families to play. So those are the two big reasons he fell in love with soccer. And for me, I grew up playing, and I really fell in love with soccer with two things. I saw my very first World Cup in 1986 in Mexico. So I've been to every World Cup since '86, and I've seen I was trying to figure this out, I think I've seen about 130 World Cup matches at this point. And I fell in love with it there, and also my brother Clark played soccer at SMU. So I got to be there at old O&B Stadium smelling Mrs. Baird's bread as a young kid, and I have such fond memories of it. And you know, the last part of your question about FC Dallas, and you know, we have been the big benefactor in Dallas because of World Cups. 66 final leads to the Dallas Tornado. A lot of those pros stayed in Dallas and started youth clubs, coached at high schools, had camps, and that's why the soccer market is really so rich, is it has just this history of great professional coaches dating all the way back into the 1960s and 70s. People always make this statement that they think the talent in Dallas is better. And I am all things Dallas, and we are better than everybody else, right? But the truth of it is because of the infrastructure of the system that was built and the competitive nature of that system. 94 World Cup happens here at the Cotton Bowl. We have 6 matches. We have one of the greatest games of all time. We have Holland against Brazil, quarterfinal. Brazil wins it 3-2. Who's been to a World Cup game here? All right. So not a lot, but I hope a bunch of you get to go this go around. But one of the greatest matches ever played, and that World Cup kicked off what is Major League Soccer today. That was our promise for FIFA to bring the World Cup to the United States, was we will launch major Division I professional soccer, which we did. And now 2026 World Cup, I think, is going to be a great way for us to grow FC Dallas even further. We hope that we have at least 5 players on the 2026 World Cup roster that have come up through our system.
That's great. That's great. And Monica, you've been at the center of bringing some of the biggest events in the world to North Texas. From the Super Bowl to now securing 9 World Cup matches, more than any other host city. What first pulled you into the world of sports event leadership, and what still makes it exciting for you today?
Well, you know, I grew up playing sports at a youth level and then in college, so I'm no longer on the competing on the field, but very much so still have the competitive spirit when we go out to bring sporting events, whether it's large or small here. So I'm very competitive and very passionate person. So just ensuring the ability to continue to ensure that Dallas is always on the forefront, that we're always going to be hosting or in the conversation to host the biggest and best events is something that continues to drive me. So when this opportunity from a World Cup standpoint came up, actually I had only been in Dallas for about 6 months. In 2009, June 20th, 2009, the RFP for the 2018 and 2022 World Cup came out, and I'm like, oh hell. You don't have the network, you don't know like who to call, you barely know how to drive around the DFW area. But we weren't successful. USA wasn't successful. So, but it gave us a great opportunity and a road to put a plan together for the next time that we were able to bid on this. So, I truly think that this is the best Metroplex from many reasons, but definitely from a sports standpoint. We were named #1 sports business city by Sports Business Journal. So it's kind of upon us now to continue to be on top of that mountain. But I see great opportunity in terms of the other sporting events that we have the ability to host. And Dan will probably mention, he's putting me to work already for the 2031 Women's World Cup. So.
Yes, I've already put her to work on it.
Absolutely. Planning is in full throttle, no question about it. And Monica, I'll stick with you on this one. What is proactively being done in the way of economic development to promote the host cities in Dallas from a business perspective?
Yeah, so we've got a few programs that we've put in place. One is our North Texas Business Connect program. You can find more information about it on our website, dallasfwc26.com. It's a way for businesses that may want to be involved in the fan festival, or have opportunities for other RFPs that, whether it's FIFA, their agency, On Location, BAM, who's doing a lot of the infrastructure out around the stadium, or working with C3 Presents at the fan festival. This is a way for businesses to alert us that they're interested, and when we get these RFPs, we're able to distribute those out as well. We are working with all of the cities within the Metroplex on public viewing opportunities that exist. FIFA has guidelines that we have to adhere to, and we pass those off. So there's an opportunity for cities to really engage, create some of their own public viewing opportunities there. We've got a new program that is just coming out for non-competitive donors, so businesses and organizations and corporations that don't compete with FIFA's commercial partners, but they want to have a place or a footprint in our fan festival. That information is coming out this week. There's probably a slew of things of how we're trying to really engage and communicate the opportunities. I mean, we've met with the consulates of Argentina. I met with Jordan this morning. Netherlands has been in. England is coming in for another site visit. And these are all in preparation of how can they activate within our cities, pre and post their teams playing here. Some of them, they're talking significant amount of fans that will be coming here even without the ticket. So we feel like there's a lot of great opportunities for businesses, restaurants, attractions, those types of things to really engage and take advantage of this.
No question. Dan, anything you'd like to add there?
Yeah, look, there are so many different ways. And you think about this, and I always tell two stories about businesses. I spoke at the Irving Hispanic Chamber of Commerce a couple years ago, and a young woman asked me, she said, how in the world do I participate in the World Cup from an economic benefit? And I asked her, I said, what do you do? And she said, I'm an event planner. And my comment back to her was, I would call the 2,000 biggest businesses in the Metroplex, introduce yourself and offer to host their watch parties at their businesses. I think a number of y'all, if you're not familiar with soccer, will be surprised. A lot of the work days will come to a grinding halt because people will watch these matches. I said, you will set up with catering, AV, flowers, all the stuff that goes into planning events, and you will make I think, more money in a month than you might all year long playing this. And even in Frisco, I give this example of a local nail salon. They asked me how they participate, and I asked, can you paint flags on people's nails? You'll be surprised the passion that these fans have. But no secret to anybody in this room, I love real estate. It's my night job. It pays for my addiction of my day job, which is soccer. And this market has such a rich history of that. I'm always amazed at the international investors that come in and buy properties here. And you have pockets all over the Metroplex, and I bump into them all the time. I think you're going to wind up with a lot more investment in this marketplace once people see it. Real estate is somewhat of a safe haven, right? We all know what the risks are, but it's an alternative asset class, and it happens to be in the United States and happens to be in Texas and specifically Dallas. I think you will see a lot of people interested in investing dollars, everything from buying homes to buying commercial properties, potentially industrial properties, office buildings. And so this is a tremendous commercial for our market in so many different ways. We all know Dallas is a global city. The World Cup was really, I think, almost a coming out party for us, even though we didn't get the final. But this is really announcing to the entire world that we live in one of the most dynamic business communities in the entire world.
Dan, I'll stay with you here, and another 10-parter. When you think about promoting the overall event experience, how are you telling the story of where visitors should stay and explore? And is the strategy to center activity in Dallas and then transport fans to matches, or distribute them across the region?
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for Monica on a lot of this, and she's given me a statistic before, but even with matches occurring in Arlington or stuff occurring in Frisco, Dallas receives almost 70%, 65% of the economic benefit. So we often talk about Dallas in a different bucket. Dallas will win the lion's share of the economics of all of this. And there'll be stuff at the Cotton Bowl. Obviously, FIFA Fan Fest at Fair Park is a big one. There'll be some match venue training centers too, potentially SMU. Maybe we'll wind up with a few base camps. But Dallas really is the winner of this economics, but all these communities are going to really benefit. And I think I would branch out on a bigger scale, and I've spent a lot of time talking about this. Houston has matches and Kansas City has matches. My brother Clark was the co-chair of Kansas City, and they're going to be doing those games at Arrowhead. We are smack in the middle of, 21 matches. 21 matches. Dallas is the hub that's almost equidistant. I mean, Kansas City's 7-hour drive. Houston's about 4 hours. But we're going to get the benefit of really 21 matches in this area. And so I think you'll have people staying all over the Metroplex, spending money at hotels, spending money at restaurants. That's what we want. I mean, one of my dad's big life lessons was you got to make sure the taxpayers get a return on their investment in facilities. And so as much as we can program our venues, activities, concerts, what's going on in Fort Worth too, these are all good things for the area. So I think it's a much broader thing than just having 9 matches, here at AT&T Stadium or Dallas Stadium.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Monica, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think from what we're seeing from the hotel contracts and what FIFA is contracting and where their people are staying, you're right around the 65-70% that we know about. That does not count spectators and having a clearer picture. I mean, in fact, about only 33% of the tickets have been distributed or sold. So there's about 8% of the capacity that goes to the international teams. So we know that some of the spectators and fans that are coming haven't even purchased their ticket, booked their hotel, but we know they are coming. And in a lot of communication with the White House Task Force and the Department of State on visas and ensuring that they'll be able to process those. One of the key areas for us and was so important for us in the bid cycle was the International Broadcast Center and what that will actually bring. We're the only city that'll have an International Broadcast Center, and they've already started moving in at the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center and developing that out. All 104 matches That's where that feed will come out of, going back to the prospective countries. But this is a 24/7 operation with 3,500 broadcasters plus another 1,500 staff that will be operating for 40-plus days from towards the end of May all the way through July 20th. So we know that, yes, while they're working in downtown Dallas, that we have worked intentionally with our other cities throughout the region to what are the experiences, what are the must-dos while they're here, because we do want them out and about experiencing the DFW region, the things that we love. While we love living here, we want them to experience that and continue to broadcast that message out.
And Monica, as you know, more than 100,000 visitors are expected daily. What infrastructure elements are getting the most attention right now that the public might not fully appreciate yet?
Yeah, so a lot of work, safety security is being planned, as well as our transportation probably are our two key components. We'll be coming out publicly in March with our transportation plan, but I can't stress enough what North Central Texas Council of Governments, Michael Morris, as well as his team there, DART, Trinity Metro, TRE, that system is incredibly important to us. If you think of how a lot of these fans travel in their own countries or at other World Cups, is through public rail or a public system. So the utilization of our transportation that we have here is very critical and important. So we will be using the TRE, getting them to the Centerport station, and then busing, have 125 buses that'll be busing ticket holders out to Arlington. So that's a key component. We've utilized this system and tested it a few times, but obviously not at this capacity. So that's incredibly important, and I think the safety, security, the infrastructure that is already there that we've had for previous events, but really expanding it across the region. There's 18 different expert planning teams and working groups. They've been working for 2 years. We're also with the White House Task Force and some of the federal funding specific for safety and security to other technology, other equipment that we will be able to utilize for this World Cup, but also we see as a lasting legacy afterwards. And then I could go into fan festival planning and that sort of thing, but we'll be releasing that shortly as well.
Right. Dan, any other notes on the infrastructure elements?
No, something that happens in a lot of World Cups is the sustainability conversation. I think this is a really important one, and I give you this example. The 2014 World Cup in Brazil, they spent $15 billion putting that on, and that's a pretty big number until you get to Qatar in 2022, where the reported number was $255 billion that they spent to make that World Cup happen. Our facilities are already built. We have world-class stadiums here. Obviously, AT&T Stadium is one of the most unique economic drivers of any sports stadium in the world. At Toyota Stadium, we're doing a $200 million facelift right now for FC Dallas there, and hopefully a visiting national team will be there. We have great highways, great infrastructure. Obviously, SMU will have some involvement here, Cotton Bowl area, Fair Park, which is already built. This will not be done at a very big cost, especially in this market. And so you see that, and we have long-term usage. I mean, this is a incredibly sports-rich town, and so these facilities will not go unused. And so I think from that standpoint, that's something we should all be proud of, that you go, because in 2002, the World Cup was in Japan and South Korea, and they were thinking about mothballing a number of their stadiums that they built. Now, they have started using them over time, and I will say this is one of my big hopes. 2002 really kicked off Japanese and South Korean soccer in a major way and caused it to just explode. And now you look and see both teams are inside the top 20 in the world. We don't have the problem of kicking off soccer in this country, but I just hope this causes U.S. soccer and how we feel about it and the sentiment and the number of players that we attract to the game. My big hope is we get kids that wind up not picking football or basketball or baseball, and they wind up picking soccer as their pathway. We're starting to get our best athletes playing, but if we can get more of those, I think you're going to see the U.S. men's national team really take off. And I say this every time I get to speak. and this is known by everybody here, I think the U.S. women's national team is the greatest sports dynasty of all time. From 1991 to today, they've won 4 World Cups, about as many gold medals as you can. They've won every trophy. 9 of the 10 greatest players of all time are American. And, this is part of our pursuit for Women's World Cup 2031, too, to bring this to the area. But the facility's already done. It's sustainable. This is a soccer-rich market. And I think the United States, in general, has so many great facilities. So I think this will be a lasting story that comes from this World Cup.
And I would probably just add also what the city of Dallas and the city of Arlington have done. The infrastructure they already have in place, but if you notice, we've got a lot of construction going on in the downtown area on certain streets. City's trying to proactively get all the construction and upkeep, looking at sidewalks. Arlington's widened sidewalks. We're working on, paths from downtown through Deep Ellum out to Fair Park. What are the lighting situations in certain areas? So a lot of it, they're being very proactive in trying to improve the great infrastructure that they already have, but then again, lasting legacy that these things get to remain after the World Cup has come and gone.
No question. And Dan, I'm curious, when preparing for major tournaments, how do sports organizations and host committees coordinate with developers, cities, and private partners to ensure readiness beyond the stadium walls?
Well, there's so many ways to look at it for us. We were hustling to do our renovation on the east side of our stadium. It's, like I said, a $200 million facelift to Toyota Stadium and Soccer Center so that we'll be able to go on break and potentially host a visiting national team and base camp. And I approached this from several different ways. I spent time talking to the Stars, the Mavs, the Rangers. Obviously, the Cowboys intimately know this, but I was asked by each of those sports teams how they participate in World Cup 2026. And my response to the Rangers, which was ironic, I told them outside of winning the World Series, the thing that you could do most to grow your global fan base was to host camps, fantasy camps, and actually play games during that time period, which we've worked on, having the Rangers have some home games. But then they went out and won the World Series that year, so they took care of part of it. But I encourage these organizations to have adult and kid fantasy camps. They're on break. I said, you're going to grow your brand and provide experiences that they cannot get anywhere else in the world, and hopefully create lifelong Mavs, Stars, Rangers fans, Cowboys fans, and they've all taken interest. So I spent time with the Dickies folks in Fort Worth and said, look, you ought to be hosting an event at the arena too. That's how you build interest. When you think about us at FC Dallas and the Cowboys, Monica is our I'll take a minute. Monica is our fearless leader here. The job that she has done is incredible, and she recruits so many great events to the Metroplex. She really is the reason why we have so many great events. So let's give her a loud applause. And that's getting so many municipalities to work together, local governments, sports teams. My staff at FC Dallas has been so committed to working on this. We have spent years. This is month 100 for me of working on World Cup 2026. The Dallas Cowboys have been working on it too. And I think we have a really unique bid because the Jones family and I have a great relationship from the NFL, and we're able to work together. So it's sharing resources, sharing people, working together with local municipalities, and planning out how everybody gets a slice of this pie.
It really is a round-the-clock project. There's no question. Monica, anything you'd like to add?
Yes, just don't bring up the number of days until the World Cup. I really have to say this World Cup is brought out, I think, unity in a little different way than maybe some of the other major sporting events that we have, because it is so critical that we have so many municipalities. If you think about our region, the number of counties, the number of cities that are involved, where our even whether it's base camps, training venues, the stadium, fan festival, airports, and everything else. We've got over 18 working groups and subcommittees, and there are representation from each of those cities on those working groups, because it's been very important for us from day one of making sure everyone feels like they are included in this, they have a voice, as well as can help us through the planning, because we can't go into a city and, I mean, there's permitting, there's clean zones, there's how we have to handle FIFA's commercial partners, our own host city supporters, and each of the cities and the entities need to know about that so that then they can help us further plan, and we can all be successful. So it's one of the things that coming out of this World Cup I may most be proud of is how regionally we are working well together.
And Monica, I wanted to follow up about the International Broadcast Center. We've talked some about that in recent weeks. Hosting the IBC, it puts downtown Dallas square in the global spotlight for weeks. From a sports hosting perspective, what does that mean for downtown's perception and investment potential?
Yeah, I mean, this is where you've 3,500 broadcasters from all over the world. They've been here since January. They will start to ramp up very high and be the 24/7 operational period, somewhere around May 28th. So for businesses to really take advantage of those, the majority of their hotels, those broadcasters are right here in the downtown area. So we know that they're going to look to utilize the rail system, or they're going to be walking about, so to find places to eat and things to do, et cetera. But this is, once again, a great opportunity for us to really engage with these broadcasters and share our messaging, share our stories with them, so that can also then be put out around the world. In addition to the International Broadcast Center, we as a host committee are going to stand up our own media center at the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center. It'll be on a different level, but not all media that are coming to the World Cup will have a credential to get into the International Broadcast Center, nor access to the stadium. But we know that they're going to want to capture what's happening in the city, throughout the region, at our fan festival. So we're providing that access for them, a place to work. This is a place where we'll have press conferences, some VIPs rolling through. So we want to provide this access to the media. We're one of the only host cities that is actually also standing up a media center, but it's because we feel this is such a great opportunity for us to continue our global presence and our global brand.
Dan, there's a ton of potential with the International Broadcast Center downtown, right?
Yeah, sure. I didn't appreciate this in '94, but we had it in Fair Park. My father, Lamar, was the head of the World Cup bid in '94 with the late, great Jim Graham, who owned the Dallas Sidekicks. If you knew Jimmy, he was a one-of-a-kind character. And my dad was so proud of it at the time. And I got to be a ball boy at the '94 World Cup. I did the Spain-South Korea game. They took 2 kids from every Dallas Classic League team in the older categories, and the manager's son selected me, and I got to do that. We're still looking for photo evidence that actually happened, but right there at the Cotton Bowl, seeing what greatness this is. But it really hit home sort of after 2018, 2022 at those IBCs. This is where all the storytelling of the World Cup effectively takes place, and it's coming right here from downtown Dallas. They will broadcast back to almost 200 countries. Think about this. And look, we haven't spent a lot of time on the numbers here, but the economic impact of the games, the IBC, base camps is around $2 billion for our area. Just think about that for a second. There are 104 matches, 48 teams playing, 9 games here, and we have IBC, which is 3,500 media members, broadcasting back to 200 countries. The scale of this is like nothing you've ever seen before. This is like, we have 9 Super Bowls. That's the effective way I can describe it. And we hit the jackpot in games, if you think about it. I mean, our 5 group stage games are maybe the greatest group stage games I've ever seen in a World Cup, in a community. And then if you think about our 4 elimination games, we could wind up with the United States on July 3rd if they finish second in their group in the round of 32. I hope they don't. I hope they win the group, because I'm on the record saying about 8 years ago, I believe that 2026 was the year the U.S. was going to make the semifinal, which, oh, by the way, if they do, they're going to be playing in Dallas on July 14th. So we literally, and I think we also have Spain as a possibility in the quarterfinals. We totally hit the jackpot. You couldn't get 9 better games, but the IBC is such a critical part of the storytelling. I mean, I've said this in a press conference with Jerry. We are the heart of the drama of World Cup 2026 right here. And that was before I knew who our games were. You got Argentina twice. You've got England, Croatia, which is the most coveted match of the group. You got Japan against Holland, which is 2 top 20s playing against each other. You have Japan against a play-in team, which could be Sweden or Poland, Ukraine maybe, which will be a very good opponent. But we literally hit the jackpot again, thanks to Monica's fearless leadership and also the relationships that we built with FIFA. I mean, we have been working on these relationships for 20 plus years in a lot of cases. And there were a lot of conversations and a lot of long nights, but our area was rewarded. And again, my big hope is the taxpayers of this area are rewarded financially for that work that we've all put in.
Mm-hmm. And Dan, I wanted to follow up and ask about something near and dear to both of your hearts, legacy. And both the North Texas Sports Foundation and Trek's philanthropic arm, Trek Community Investors, are focused on shaping a stronger future for North Texas through community-centered investment. As we think about legacy and the opportunities the World Cup presents, what role do mission-driven partnerships play in ensuring that this moment translates into long-term community impact?
Now, look, it's simple, and this is near and dear to my heart at FC Dallas and our foundation. We build a lot of community fields. There are a lot of neighborhoods where kids don't have safe spaces to play soccer, and the single best thing that happens in their entire life that day is that they get to go play with their friends, because you don't know what kind of situation that they're going to go home to. And we to date, I think we're working on number 14 or 15 right now. And that's everything from a mini pitch to a full-size field. Well, we are working on our LOC to put community pitches around the Metroplex. I mean, that's just one part. My hope is, again, it inspires boys and girls to play for generations and the interest in it. And a big part of this, and this will be my fundraising pitch, Monica might not do it, but we're still looking for supporters of our 10 FIFA partnerships that we can have, and we're also looking for donations, because that's going to help pay for fields and communities, but also it's going to give us the war chest we need for Women's World Cup 2031. I have 2 little girls who are 7 and 10, and I want to show them that anything is possible. Through hard work and commitment and dedication, that we can do things that we can elevate the communities that we live in. So those dollars are going to be used to help, for our bid in 2031. And frankly, I'm pretty clear on this. We know the bidding process will be different in 2031. This was a massive lift for us. And again, our fearless leader here has been so amazing, and her whole staff has done such a great job. But the documentation, working with all the municipalities, is 107, 109 groups you're working with? Yeah, I mean, that's unfathomable. The different cities, and we all know, I mean, we're in the business of developing real estate here and being involved in projects. It's hard to get through one city council. And she's worked through so many to make this happen and pull this all together. But I just can't urge you enough, if you see fit, to support this, because you will be helping improve areas that need fields, that improve kids' lives, and also you're going to give us a fighting chance to go for the big prize in 2031.
No question. And Monica, legacy is top of mind.
Legacy, very important to me. The way I look at major events is if we do not also focus on legacy and be successful there, then the event will fail. So from the very beginning, we have made intentional decisions. It has always been a part of the budget. FIFA actually has legacy components that they're going to be factoring in here over these next 4 to 6 months. But really our legacy is looking from a regional standpoint, where are those underserved areas? that kids don't have a pitch. They don't even feel safe walking out of their house to be able to engage in sport, whether it's soccer or other sport, or they don't have access to coaching or access to play or even the equipment that might be needed. So there's other sustainability and human rights initiatives that we're working on from a legacy standpoint, some ambassador and concierge types of training that we're working on across the region, from our airports to our hotels to the concierge staff to our transportation agencies, of ensuring that we have cultural awareness. So a lot of things are rolling into legacy. We did just create the North Texas Sports Foundation, announced it about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago now. And its intent is really to be engaged with all of the major events that we're hosting here. So I'm not just looking at right now, yes, it's very much World Cup and soccer focused. But in 2030, we're hosting the NCAA Men's Final Four. 2031, the NCAA Men's Final Four 2030, 2031 NCAA Women's Final Four, hopefully a FIFA Women's World Cup. We know we want a Super Bowl again, so this foundation will span and grow into other sports. And as Dan mentioned, we do have host city supporter opportunities available. Very thankful for Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages, UT Southwestern, which we just announced on Monday, Choctaw Casino Resorts, and a few others that'll be coming. That is one way to get involved, but there's going to be some that, hey, and many have already reached out, and I thank those who have already come on as our donors and founders there. These are opportunities for even companies that are conflicted maybe with FIFA's corporate partners. You can't be a host city supporter, but you still want to assist this legacy, and through the foundation is a great avenue to do that.
And Monica, last question before we get to the lightning round. As we look ahead, from a preparedness standpoint, where is the most focus right now? What conversations are still happening behind the scenes to ensure that North Texas is fully ready for this global event?
Probably on the safety security side. I think obviously the world changes on a daily basis. We're analyzing the stuff that is happening in Mexico right now, knowing that we're anticipating a lot of visitors coming from Mexico, as well as kind of the reverse. And working with the White House task force is something that on a daily basis we're getting updates there. Our federal funding piece, we are in a government shutdown, so we're held up and we don't have the signatures on the federal funding. So you're starting to see and hear people in the media get a little bit antsy right there. But overall, from an operational standpoint, I feel we are in a very good position to be able to deliver those 9 matches and International Broadcast Center and the Fan Festival. In about 2 weeks, we'll come out, or a week and a half maybe, we will have a public press announcement on our Fan Festival. We are anticipating being open 34 days straight, or not straight, but 34 of the 39 days, the actual rest days, we are going to take off, but we have our schedule, the timing of when doors are open. We'll announce some concerts that we'll be layering in. So those are some pretty heavy lifts, and I'm very proud from a Dallas standpoint that we are doing a traditional fan festival. So for people who have been to a World Cup in the past, you will experience that type of fan festival when people come to Dallas, or when you head out to Fair Park. It really becomes the heartbeat of the World Cup. There's so many people that are going to be coming that don't have tickets, don't intend to even have tickets to go to the matches, but they want to be a part of that energy. And I've been to almost every sporting event imaginable, Olympic Games, et cetera, Super Bowls, Final Fours, WrestleManias, and I had the opportunity to go to Russia in 2018, very fast, quick trip, and then Qatar, but Russia was my first experience with the World Cup. And until you see it and feel it, it's very hard to bring that back and try to explain to people what a great opportunity and what they're going to experience this summer. And at the end of the day, I just want to ensure that from a regional standpoint, we're proud of how we operate.
No question about it. Dan, anything else top of mind for you as we enter March?
Again, we're working on safety. Security is obviously the biggest thing. We have a responsibility to our citizens, to fans, to the participants to make sure they have the safest environment. And I would encourage you, if you get a chance, to attend a match or go to our FIFA Fan Fest at Fair Park. The passion and energy around this is like nothing you've ever seen before. This is something you want to be part of. The most financially successful World Cup of all time was 1994 here in the United States. This will blow that out of the water. And the World Cup will be back on the men's side, and we do have the Women's World Cup coming up in 2031. But take part, be part of this. I think it's going to be something that you will remember, and I always say this to people. They ask, again, what are the things I hope for? I hope that everybody's able to create lifetime memories with family and friends around the World Cup. It's something that I've been doing since 1986, and it's something just really, really special.
Now the lightning round. Here come the hardball questions, guys. Dan, who's your favorite national team to watch right now?
United States. I'm a little bit of a homer on that, I'm proud of what they've done in the last 10 or 11 months. We have the coaching staff in, and I think that message has really translated, and you see the success they're having right now. So I'm gonna have to go with the United States.
I have a long list. I've got Argentina, Netherlands, Jordan, Austria, any of the England, Croatia, Japan, any of the ones playing here. And we have we have an annual partnership with the Mexican national team. So I have to say that one's very important to us as well.
I like your style. Monica, is there a player that you're especially excited to see in this World Cup?
I probably don't watch as much soccer as Dan does and know all of the famous players. The player that I like are those little kids that are going to get to see this World Cup for the first time or experience soccer and what that actually means to them long-term moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And Dan, FC Dallas may have a few, obviously.
Yeah, Ricardo Pepi would be one. Coming from FC Dallas, and he could have a breakout World Cup. The news around him going potentially from PSV Eindhoven to England on almost a $40 million transfer is great. And he's such a neat young man. I'll give you one other player. I hope he makes Croatia's team, but FC Dallas's own Petr Musa. He's our star number 9, probably the best number 9 in all of Major League Soccer, and there's a chance he makes Croatia's team, which is a top 10 team in the world.
And Dan, when visitors ask where they have to eat in Dallas, what's your go-to recommendation?
Off the top of the head, I give them 2. You got to go have a Mambo Taxi at Mi Casino. That's an easy one, and then go get a great steak at Bob's.
I'm a Tex-Mex, so I was going to say Mi Casino and the Mambo Taxi. We introduced the Mambo Taxi to FIFA during our site visit and our prep thing. They very much, I've never seen, I had to pay this bill. The next morning, we left them there, and I woke up, and I'm like, how many Mambo Taxis? I didn't think it was possible. Now, they were wearing sunglasses the next day for our pitch. So
it was part of our bid strategy.
It worked.
We put them in cowboy hats, and we gave them 3 Mambo Taxis each.
Yep.
And they said yes next day.
Yeah.
That's great. Monica, early prediction here. Who's winning the whole thing? Who's lifting the trophy?
See, I didn't read his speed questions. I guess I didn't prep for this one. I don't think it's going to be Argentina. I don't think it's going to be the USA either. I'm going to go with England.
Dan putting you on the spot.
on the spot. So I'll give again, I like to give lots of answers to things. So Norway is the giant killer. That's the one that is incredibly dangerous, and maybe Croatia with Petr Musa. But I think you're going to have, it could be a Holland-Brazil final. And the reason I say that is Ancelotti, the famous coach from Real Madrid, has Brazil coming back in a great moment with 3 of the best attackers in the world playing there. And I feel like this Holland team is just so complete on so many levels. And so I'm bringing back a little bit of Dallas magic since they were here in '94.
That's great. That's great. Now, we do have time for a few minutes for a couple audience questions. Jennifer and Amy will be coming around with microphones. If you have a question, please raise your hand and wait for a microphone, and so everybody in the room can hear you clearly.
Oh, we got one.
Can you talk a little bit about the game day experience that fans will be able to get when they're at Dallas Stadium?
FanFest experience.
Game day experience?
Yeah,
Game day experience.
Game day experience. Okay. So around the stadium, it'll be a little bit different than a normal Cowboys game that you're used to attending or other major events out there. There will be extended perimeter where you'll do a ticket check, and then as you get closer into the stadium, actual official ticket check. But basically, the postage stamp is kind of what we're looking at. FIFA actually controls all of the parking lots as well. There will be actually a media center and tent type of thing set up there. They've got a lot of broadcasts, a lot of production, so FIFA will be selling, they actually already are selling parking, so those of you who do have tickets, you're only able to get that parking if you have a ticket. We are working collectively with Texas Live as well on some hospitality, what that fan engagement looks like. Choctaw, City of Arlington is going to have an Ambassador Row over at Choctaw, so all the consulates are looking to set up shop there. FIFA will have some fan festival initiatives and engagement activities, but kind of in the club section or on the end zones outside of AT&T Stadium, and that is all managed by FIFA. We haven't seen a true glimpse of what's going to be in there, but doors open 3 hours beforehand. They've got some hospitality packages that include seats as well as the hospitality in their affiliates club, which they have located within the stadium.
Anyone else? Yeah. In the back?
Yeah, as a side note, Monica and I, a big part of our pitch back in 21 was the parking element around the stadium. They were very, very focused on public transportation, and I know that's always been a hot button for people, but when we talked to them about the opportunity to park, if you have Six Flags and the Rangers, a number of these vendors, you can park almost, 30,000 cars? And when we talked to FIFA about that and what an important part of tailgating culture is here in this community and explain the revenue that could be earned, they were very excited about that.
Bryce Jackson with 34 Commercial. Dan, you touched a little bit on the legacy piece of this when the World Cup's all gone. How are you guys, and I know you touched on building fields, and that's been an initiative that you've leaned into, but how are you going to, I guess, increase engagement with youth in organized soccer beyond kind of just like having a place to go? How do you get the demographic of people that I think opt to play basketball or football because it's free to be involved in organized soccer?
Sure, it's a great question. We do a lot of camps and clinics with the FC Dallas Foundation, and there will be a version of that we do, and we've been doing and will continue to do. But what's really important about these community pitches, and we've learned this lesson at FC Dallas, and I think Monica and her staff has done a great job with this, is finding the right counterparty that you have that can help program these fields that are actually in these communities where we're going to put them. That's really it, because they're the ones that are going to maintain it. They're going to be the ones that keep an eye on it. They're going to be the ones that actually schedule it and program it. And so that is maybe the most important part of this, outside of actually putting the field down, is working with a counterparty that can program that. And I think we've done a really good job at FC Dallas. We're averaging, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 20,000 kids a month now on FC Dallas fields that we put around communities, and these kids didn't have a place. So if you have ideas, please come visit, because we're looking for organizations, and they are applying for fields. And so that's really the key to keeping these successful.
And I'll just add that there is a form on our website where if you have a community or you have a location that like, hey, maybe an old tennis court or something, hey, we would love you to put a mini pitch here for the community. There's a way for you to sign up, get us that information. We send somebody out to look at the feasibility, would this work? and then we add it to our list. So as we continue to raise money on the foundation piece, it is our goal to put 26 mini pitches here within the Metroplex as a minimum, just from a number standpoint. So as we find the opportunity and have the money, then we know that we have the list of mini pitches and we start designating. So we've already, I think, designated 6 or 7, but obviously we've got a long way to go. Now, these mini pitches are not going to be done before the World Cup is over. This is meant to be a legacy, so a lot of this work will be done after the World Cup is come and gone. In addition, we are working on plans for a Unity Cup type of an event in May during World Football Week, as well as a coaches and officials symposium, all the way up from high-level coaches all the way up to coaches that are just getting into it to help them to develop the tools that they need to continue to provide that to those kids.
These two can talk all day about this. I mean, they're the best. There's no question about it. And I'd like to again thank Monica and Dan for their great insights on what is sure to be a thrilling and successful World Cup here in North Texas. I'd also like to thank our speaker series sponsors for making today's program possible. And finally, thank you all for being with us this afternoon. We look forward to seeing you at the next Trek event. Have a great afternoon.